Hello, Wanderers. Welcome back to our Crusader Kings 3 roleplay series following Robert Baratheon after his failed rebellion. And then in that last episode, we found ourselves back in Westeros, where Robert has been attempting to gather some support for a possible return. And that's basically where we left things off. And now that is still what we're going to be attempting to do this episode, and I do have some plans for how we're going to do that. But first, I want to zoom out and show you that there is a little bit of chaos going on in Westeros, and that is because the Greyjoy rebellion. Indeed, we know that canonically, Balon Greyjoy did end up leading a rebellion in this canonically against Robert Baratheon, who had taken the throne. But I don't think that there's much to suggest that in this timeline that Balon wouldn't have the same ambitions, in that he wouldn't see the ascension of Rhaegar, or Dark Rhaegar as we're calling him in the Discord, to the Iron Throne after the murder, the suspicious death of his father, King Aerys the Mad King, as an opportunity to do the exact same thing that he did in the normal timeline. We know that Balon had those ambitions of independence for the Iron Islands, of going back to the old ways of the Drowned God, and all of these things. And so I think that it's very fitting that he would take this opportunity to lead that rebellion. In order to do so, I have given him some extra troops, just to actually make things a little bit more even. Obviously, the Iron Islands wouldn't be able to raise that many levies, but just considering the amount of forces that the Iron Throne can bring up, 140,000, I thought it only fair to give the Iron Islands, a little bit extra troops in order to, give them a shot. They're probably going to lose, but that's actually what happened in the regular timeline anyways. But I wanted to give him a good fight at it to give him at least a little bit of time to do that. Ignore the fact that like Tarth and Blackhaven and stuff joined him. That's just AI being weird, but it is what it is. So yeah, but obviously the Tyrells are backing Rhaegar. But interestingly enough, not only do Dorne and the Westerlands have decided not to back Rhaegar. That's understandable because Tywin has good reason to be pretty pissed at Rhaegar, as does Doran. But also the Vale has stayed independent as well, which is interesting, and the North stayed independent as well. But there's something interesting going on in the North, and that is because, as you will see, we no longer have our dear friend Ned in our court. In fact, he is over here in the North, and you will immediately see that he is over here in White Harbor, and that a conspiracy in the North has risen up against Lord Roderick Riswell and is attempting to put Eddard back in the North here. And so yeah, there's a war for Eddard's claim in the North. So basically what I'm imagining happened is that Robert is planning to gather up his support here in the Stormlands to do his own push to take back his lands. And Ned was sent via ship to White Harbor, where a similar situation was raised for him. Now, obviously, Ned is going to have a little bit easier time of that, simply because the North is like very kind of isolated, and the Starks are held in such high regard there that it's going to be a lot easier for people to rise up for them. Whereas the Stormlands, even though everybody hates the Tyrells here, there is probably some sense that Robert, he is a loser. He did lose the rebellion. And so there's almost like maybe going to be a little bit more hesitancy for Robert to, build up. So Robert essentially, and how I'm going to play this out, we're going to go and basically try to perform as many tasks and things like that as we can for Robert to to basically, you know, get his claim back. Now we can't do this. We can't. We're not gonna have enough prestige. But yeah, basically, I'm just gonna be doing some of these jobs and some of these tasks now. Yeah, I get it. That might seem like, you know, Robert, oh, he's just going around doing jobs for these people. It doesn't really make sense if you look at it strictly like that. But the way I'm trying to imagine it, I'm trying to take the game mechanics here and apply them in a way that's like basically Robert is going and like currying favor with all these various lords. So we're going to try to do like a couple jobs around the Stormlands to basically signify our efforts to curry favor with the people of the Stormlands. So it kind of makes sense. Some of the jobs and stuff are going to be a little bit weird, but you guys got to use your imagination a little bit here, okay? So yeah, that's the idea. We're going to try to curry favor. Ned is going to try to take the north so that we'll have the north backing us once again. And all the while that's happening, the only reason why we can do this is because Rhaegar is distracted by the Ironborn Rebellion. So if the Ironborn Rebellion ends and we've only done like a couple jobs, you know, I'm only gonna get ourselves like a little bit of support from the Stormlands. Depending on how much time we have and how many jobs and things like that we're able to do, that's gonna determine how much support Robert's gonna start with when we do make our push to take our lands back. So yeah, that's the idea. Let's get started with it. So first thing that we're gonna do, I'm gonna do this passage of arms here for Lord Harold Rogers. I think that this one's, I think it should be relatively quick, and that's gonna be the idea here. So there's a little bit of sea danger, but we could probably purchase some ships, I suppose. So let's go and do that. I don't know where we got all this money from. I actually have really no idea, but we have it. So I can't remember. I don't think I gave myself that much money, but it is what it is. Lord Harold watches two courtiers chatting in hushed whispers. Wonderful morning we have here. You see there's a bridge that goes into Amberley. There's all manner of footpaths. So yeah, basically we're helping Lord Rogers out by you know, helping him manage some of these bandits. We do need to do things relatively quickly, but I think if we do a balanced arrangement, we should be somewhat all right for that. So, we'll have. Oh, I should have sent Lord Willem. I'll send Lord Willem up to the north after, anyways. But so I actually won't use him in this task. Let's assume that Lord Willem's in the north there. So our muscle is gonna be. I guess we'll get our wife to be muscle. She's looking a little bit sick, but that's all right. Our thug is going to be Ossifer Horp, Sir Officer Ossifer Horp. Absolutely the perfect man to be a thug right here. And then our lookout, yeah, Lord Brynden definitely could be a good lookout. And then, of course, our footpad shall be Wendell a Weaver, a very fitting one to take that position as well. So yeah, look, our scheme phase is going to go very quickly here, so we'll be able to take care of this job pretty fast, which is exactly what we want. We need to get these jobs done fast, build up as much support as we can, so that we can handle these jobs. We'll keep an eye on how things are going up here. The Iron Islands, yeah, I mean they're gonna struggle for sure. With any luck, they might be able to win 1 or 2 battles. But we'll see. Okay, there we go. We got our 5 scheme advantages, so we can now seize the moment. There we go. So yeah, we've managed to guard the bridge, you know, take down some bandits, and Robert, Lord Harold greets me. What a sight. Perhaps he says, Lord Robert, my Lord Robert. We have a long path ahead of us, so... Lord Harold is one of our patrons, so you know what? We've kind of won over the Rainwood. We might not have done a job for, you know, Sir Wilde here, but we've done a job for one of his vassals, and so I kind of count that as winning over the Rainwood. Next, let's head over to... I think we'll probably head over to the lands of House Swan here. House Swan is a powerful house in Stonehelm, and I'd like to go and go over there anyways, first and foremost. So let's see. Oh yeah, we gotta return back to Estermont here. So let's go. All right, now we go to Stonehelm. So let's set sail and make our way there. We'll try to win over Stonehelm as well. Hopefully a couple jobs will pop up. Father, cries my daughter Mia, bounding up to me at speed and near bowling me over. Look what I found. It's a puppy. The girl does indeed appear to be all but swinging a freshly whelped pup. She has crooked into her arm. The father alone, little typo there, knows where she picked it up, but despite the awkward movement, the animal seems very excited to be here. Oh, sure, she can have a dog. Visited the walls of Black and White Stonehelm has long been one of the Marchers' strongholds protected by its striking walls of black and white stone. It has seen the end of countless Dornish raiders. There's so much like interesting lore with Game of Thrones that you don't actually pick up, especially if you're not really paying attention for it. But yeah, I find it really, really interesting, all these like little tidbits that they have added in here with the various, special buildings and things like that. A lot of them were added in by Valadar's CK3 mod for the Game of Thrones submod. But yeah, very cool stuff. That does actually provide me with a pretty good segue into something that I wanted to mention, which was that I did get accepted into Audible's creator program. For those of you who have been watching the channel for a little while, you will know that I have mentioned the fact that I've been listening to the Last Kingdom audiobooks for the last little while. I think I'm on book 7 or book 8 or something like that. You can get the Game of Thrones Fire and Blood book on there, which I would actually recommend if you're a Game of Thrones lore fan. The Fire and Blood book it's really like a lore and world building book told through the eyes of a maester who's writing the history of House Targaryen. It's really cool. There's tons of lore in there. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. If you want to support the channel, just go and use the link that I've got below. Sign up for the free trial. If you get a free book on it, so maybe get the Fire and Blood book or try a different one. If you don't like audiobooks, you can just cancel it. But I give it a shot, honestly. I've been listening to them for a few months now, and I quite enjoy it. So anyways, that's my little spiel. Let's get back to things here. So it doesn't look like we've got any jobs here in Stonehelm that we can do right away. So what we're probably going to do is go into the castle. Let's visit the castle holding. We're here with Sir Gyrid the Hammer. And we're going to go and see if they've got any jobs. The town crier does have some professional jobs. Martial duties, probably going to be the ones that we're going to be looking for the best. So yeah, let's do some martial ones. We are going to need a little bit of supplies. So I am willing to load up on supplies here. We'll head back. Let's take a look at Stonehelm Castle. We can look for some more able bodies at the garrison. We've got the Aegon here. I don't like that name. And Eric. Neither of these guys really interests me. Could visit the local training grounds. And maybe do a little bit of sparring with Gyrid here, and our skill improves, so there we go. All right, let's head back to camp. What jobs do we have? Okay, a few of them spawned. Oh, are these the hireling jobs? No, these is like collecting taxes. Now, we're not going to collect taxes. Solicit charity, collect taxes. Escort emissary. I guess we could maybe escort an emissary here for Lord Walter Brownhill. This is a vassal of the Lord of House Mertens here. So yeah, I suppose we can do a job with that. Oh, they're going to take us to Gallows Grey, which is actually perfect because I'd like to get House Trant on my side anyways. Is Marin Trant here? Which one is... He's got to be existing, right? At this point? Sir Marin Trant? Yeah, he is. Ugh. Yeah, we don't like this guy. For obvious reasons, for those of you who know the books or the show. Regardless, House Trant is a powerful house, and oh, that's gonna cost us a lot of the food that we just bought up, but it's not too dangerous, so let's start traveling, and we'll go and head there. So, you know, we're making some good inroads and deals with the, you know, the people here on Cape Wrath. But, you know what, getting some over here is pretty good as well. There seems to be a knight. Who is this knight? Corwin. I never leave a knight unattended. Julian, make him see reason and join our court. Yeah, sure. There's no two ways about it, whether from weather, terrain, there's some fever among the mules. Let's redistribute our gear. Yeah, I guess we'll redistribute the gear. The disease spreads through the herd. That's actually not very good. Oh, one thing to consider, actually, I just thought of this now too, is that we're traveling in these lands. You know, we got to be watching out for Tyrell loyalists. You know, there's probably Tyrell soldiers, although I don't think the Tyrell soldiers probably travel that far from Storm's End or Griffin's Roost. This area is probably the only area where they really have safety. I imagine that Tyrell soldiers go missing anywhere outside of this little area around Storm's End because the Stormlords do not like them. Keep in mind that Garth the Growth's son was murdered, and I imagine it was probably during such an event. Regardless, I do think that there's probably some worth in Robert maybe going a little bit undercover. You know, maybe he could potentially, you know, dress up a little bit like, less like Robert. Let's go and find him some, you know, some like more like common armor here. Let's see. Let's get him something that just looks like, yeah, here we go. Maybe something like this. This looks pretty basic here. And then maybe he changes his beard. Let's give him like a longer beard to cover his face. Just to like, you know, represent him essentially being in disguise. We'll change up his hair a little bit as well. So maybe he lets his, you know, lets his hair grow a little bit. Well, it's kind of long already, but, well, let's see. Maybe he cuts it. Does he cut his hair? Let's see. Shaved head. That'd be interesting. Yeah, you know what? I think, you know what? If he shaved his head and grew his beard out, that might distract. Plus, he got this, you know, horrific scar and stuff. This might be enough to have people think that he's someone else. Although he kind of is gonna end up looking like what Stannis here looks like. We'll assume everybody else is in disguise, but yeah, this is Robert basically trying to avoid notice essentially while he's doing these jobs. Brought before Lord Stefan himself, you've come at Lord Walter's behest. We shall speak in my chambers. I should head back to camp. I think there is something to be said for, like, you know, people might not respect Robert if he was traveling in disguise, but you know, I think it's kind of a necessity. You know, there's probably Tyrell patrols. Like I said, they might not go that far from Storm's End, but they're probably, you know, like this area, especially in this area here, right in between Storm's End and in the Reach. These roads are probably more well traveled by the Tyrells, like this road and stuff here. So, you know, it might be a little bit of a sacrifice that we have to make, and you know, that might have been just something that was suggested by, you know, some of our followers. Was like, you know, like Brendan, you know, some of these people are going to be people who might look at things a little bit more practically, like going around as Robert, you know, just like loudly is going to potentially be something that's going to get us a little bit too much notice. All right, let's we don't really have too many other good jobs here. Let's see about escorting another emissary. Let's see where they want us to go. Lord Shadrick? No, another Stormlander here. Sheerfield. Yeah, let's just keep going. Yeah, see, look at this. We're getting really close to the Tyrell lands here. So we have to be like careful about the ways that we're going here. So we're going and we see Lord Tymon. We'll head back to camp here. Are there any jobs we can do here? Let's see. There's no town crier jobs. All right, I'm done here. Head back to camp. All right, well, regardless, I think we're going to head up and go to Parchments and House Penrose here. Interestingly enough, going on back about that lore, and you might actually see this in the Fire and Blood book, but I believe if we go back in the history of House Penrose, we will find, indeed, we do find ourselves a Targaryen here. So Lord Ronald Penrose was married to Princess Elena Targaryen. So if you guys are ever interested in playing Targaryen descended houses, House Penrose does have Targaryen blood in them, interestingly enough. But yeah, let's head to Parchments here and visit House Penrose. Hopefully we'll get a job there. You visited the location of the last storm. The last storm was a battle fought during Aegon's conquest. The forces of Argilac Durrandon were ultimately defeated after Orys Baratheon, a close friend of Aegon the Conqueror, slew King Argilac in single combat. Orys would take Argilac's kingdom, keep and daughter in the aftermath. Yeah, that was our ancestor there, Orys Baratheon there. Very cool. All right, we completed the baggage train here. I'd like to get some more bonuses as well, probably with the proving grounds. So let's go and get that done. Can we get some jobs here? No, 288. So we gotta wait a year before we can ask for jobs, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, there are no jobs for us to do, which is, kind of unfortunate. But the way I see it, like, look at the opinion that some of these lords have of us. 76, 61. Silver Axe is, of course, our friend. So we're going to all these places here, and we're building up a nice amount of, we're reminding everybody of who their lord was. Rhaegar seems to be dealing with the Iron Islanders here, but they're only at 41%, so we might have a little bit more time. House of Ryswell is, they're not losing, or they're not winning the war. Ooh, looks like Ethan Glover. Oh, no, Master Benton Glover, the Lord of the Wolfswood, died, so they kind of got out of that. Ethan Glover was slain by Gregor the Mountain. And so this child now, so they're out of the rebellion. How does that leave the rebellion here? Relatively even. Now, you guys might be wondering, like, why wouldn't just all of the North rise up against the Ryswells? And I want to suggest two reasons that Lords of the North might not rise up against the Ryswells. The first reason is probably going to be the more obvious reason. Actually, there's three reasons. So some of them are going to be aligned with House Ryswell. This is actually, probably case in point is going to be Roose Bolton. He has a lot of interest in keeping the Ryswells on the throne. Obviously, there's some other Ryswell lords here. They've got some small vassals. So there are going to be some lords that just see, they want to curry favor with the Ryswells. They see that as being an opportunity for them to rise above the stations that they were at when the Starks were in charge. So some of them might legitimately be backing the Ryswells. The second option why somebody might not have joined the rebellion, but might be playing it a little bit more neutrally, is that this is not, the North is not independent or anything like that. Technically, the Ryswells are the vassals and are sworn to King Rhaegar, and they are according to Rhaegar, according to the Iron Throne, the Risswells are the rightful lords of the North. And so imagine if you essentially rising up against the Risswells is the exact same thing as rising up against the Targaryens. So there's a lot of lords who might be hesitating to join in because of that fact. Because if the rebellion loses, if, for some reason they can't put Ned on the throne, then, you're going to suffer. Even if you can put Ned on the throne, now you've successfully rebelled against the Targaryens. That's also just going to lead to more potentially negative consequences. And then the third reason is something I've forgotten, but it was probably a pretty good reason as well. So yeah, that's there's a lot of reasons why somebody wouldn't rise up against the Risswells in this situation, but obviously the Starks are held in pretty high regard, and so Howland Reed and Willis Manderley, Last Hearth here, who has good reason to hate the Karstarks or hate the Risswells and the Boltons rising up. Karstarks didn't, but they're ruled over by a kid here. And Karstarks do somewhat benefit from the Starks not being on the throne. They might actually end up being able to push their own claim one day. So, yeah, like I said, there's a couple good reasons why people might not join in. And the main reasons being either personal benefit or the threat of what would come regardless of whether the rebellion wins or loses. So, yeah, I think that's at least reasonable to assume. Offer courtier. Oh, look, Lord Lord Edric Silveraxe here is sending one of his own men to serve with us. Oh, nice, Arlen here. Okay, so we can probably assume that Silveraxe is on our side. He's sending a messenger here to basically, help keep us kind of informed of everything that's going on. So that's actually perfect. So let's head over here to Haystacks. Splendid place to go on a hunt. Yeah, all right, let's do it. We've gone on a hunt trying to see which one of us has the better shot, me or Stannis, and we've managed to beat Stannis here. We're a bit low on food. I'll give my wife a little bit of money to spend over there. And yeah. Corwin, sure. Corwin can eat it. We're gonna need to pick up some food while we're in the town here. Let's go and grab some supplies. Yeah, let's load up and get as many supplies as we can. Take a look at Haystack Hall. We'll visit the local training grounds. I don't want to do that. Can we get anybody good on our side here? Oh, what's our wife sick with? She is not doing too well. She did have a daughter, Alice Baratheon here. Let's see. Oh man, these guys are very expensive. So no, I don't think we'll pay for that. You go to the local tavern, hear a story or two. And then Horus and Set became mortal enemies. Sure, they did. Whatever you say. Alright, let's head back. Alright, should we go and visit our friend Silveraxe? I mean, it's clear that Silveraxe is already on our side. So where else could we presumably head to? I mean, it wouldn't hurt to get the Grandisons on our side. We did kill... oh no, we didn't kill... Yeah, the Hugh Grandison, his father was actually executed by Ares. So the Grandisons probably have good reason not to want to be on the side of the Targaryens here. So let's just go and make our peace with them. I know I said I wanted to do jobs, but the jobs aren't popping up, so I'm at least going and visiting, some of these places. Oh, we do have some jobs here. Passage of Arms, hired muscle. Well, we can go and do a Passage of Arms here for one of the lords of the, or one of the vassals of Lord Grandison. As we walk through the streets of Slumber Hall, a procession of soldiers emerges from a side street. Most of them are injured and aided by downtrodden civilians. A herald proudly stands up in front of the throng of people gathering around the marketplace and declares with a loud voice, "We have crushed those Tarth dogs once again. It is only a matter of time before victory is ours." Apparently there's a little bit of a rivalry, apparently, between these people and Tarth. But there's a bunch of injured soldiers. I will donate to these poor wretches. You know what? I think that we have to... Ooh. You insult the survivors. We could donate coins to them. You know what? I'm gonna take this. I'm really gonna hope that we get the... Here's some stories about the battles, or here's about the blunders. I don't want to insult the survivors, but if we can get one of the other two options, yeah, there we go, perfect. So the way I'm counting this is that we went and talked to those soldiers and basically earned their respect. We didn't insult them. That's the way that I'm gonna kind of see that playing out here. So we'll go and do basically the same thing we did in that last one here. Let's get our thug, Ossifer. Definitely our thug. Let's get Blackfish on the lookout and Wendell as our footpad. And let's go and get this job done. There's a bit of camp gossip. Salacious rumors. The unsavory habits of Sarala, who is a Pentoshi, a captain who came with us, I presume. Investigate the truth of the matter. All right, we'll investigate. But there's nothing to see here, apparently. Just rumors and hearsay. Such as it is, I suppose. All right. How's the war going? 50%. Okay, so you know what? The Ironborn are, they're not doing well. Ooh, they're just, looks like they're getting crushed in a battle here. Yeah, looks like they're, did they get crushed? They might be surviving. How's Stark's rebellion going on here? They are winning the rebellion, so that's good at least. I imagine some other lords, potentially I might bring in a couple other lords here, you know, once the rebellion's gone on a little bit longer, but you know, we'll kind of see. Okay, here we go. We got 100. Let's execute the scheme. Seize the moment here. So we've gone taking care of some bandits for House Grandison. Maybe we'll go and, what do we got here? Transcribe text? No. Let's go down to Wentway. Let's go and see if we can get some of these Marcher Lords onto our side. All right, let's go and head over there. We got a new martial lifestyle perk. So I'm going to go with Never Back Down. This is always a good one to take. Let's go and do that. Second in command, the post of my second has lain vacant. Who do we got? Goodmund? Yeah, the House Forcer guy probably should have gone with Ned as well. Delono, Sir Davos. You know what? I think that Davos might be the one who makes the most sense here. Because yeah, I think Goodmund should actually probably be up with Ned as well. I'll probably send the northern ones up with Ned to go and evidence that. But yeah, I think Davos, you know what? Davos as our second. That's fine. Honestly, it should probably be Stannis. If anybody. You know what? Maybe we make... Yeah, you know what? It should be... Yeah, you know what? Maybe we don't make Stannis. Maybe we do put Davos in there because, you know, Stannis... no, yeah, I don't think... you know what? I think that Robert and Stannis don't get along, but I think it would make sense to have Stannis as our second in command, and Davos as our porter probably makes a little bit more sense here. Maester Julian should be in that position there. That probably makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, I could see Robert passing over Stannis in that way, just because of the brotherly rivalry, but I don't know. The situation's a little bit different, so. Careful, my lord, says Samwile. or no, it says Brynden, they're bandits. But this guy is a guy who can tell future. How fortunate. Please tell me my future. The fire shall talk and silver shall flow from the hoof of lowing cattle. Well, to me, that says the fire obviously represents Rhaegar here, you know, House Targaryen. So the House Targaryen is going to talk. And the silver shall flow from the hoof of lowing cattle. Well, interestingly enough, House Wentway. House Wentway's got goats as their, or fawns as their house thing. I don't think there's probably any cattle houses around here, but, you know, I'm sure that there's a way that we can explain this in that it makes sense that we are going to defeat the Targaryens. I think that that's what that prophecy ultimately means. So here we are in Wentway, meeting with Lord Stefan Catherine here, who, you know, probably likes us a little bit better than he likes the Targaryens, I would at least have to imagine here. Let's see, what houses, these are, oh yeah, this is going to be House Ashford, all right. I mean, we have done a good job of at least going around the lands and meeting with the various lords and things like that. You know, let's head down here. House Selmy would be good to get on their side. I mean, Barristan Selmy is in the Kingsguard. But I don't know if Lord Balon Selmy has much lost love for these new Tyrell overlords, so I think it's probably worth going to Harvest Hall here. Who knows what the relationship between the, you know, Barristan Selmy and his cousin is, so I think it's probably relatively safe here. Let's go to Harvest Hall. Yeah, let's go and speak to the man here. Yeah, look at this, plus 60. I mean, he likes us, obviously. That seems to me to be the obvious thing to suspect here. And look, we can even get an alliance with Estermont as well. That is ideal. And yeah, let's continue to build up our camp if we can. Go to Pavilion level 2. So yeah, I mean, we've made our way through most of the Stormlands here, you know, from Rainwood, Cape Wrath, Redwatch, Slain, Dark Harrow, over to the Vellum Coast, Stackfield, Silver Axe is on our side. You know, we've got House Stademon over here, Catherine, Grandison, Selmy as well. You know, we've made ourselves known to all these various lords, and I think that perhaps that might just be enough for Robert to have garnered the support that he needs to raise enough banners in rebellion against the Tyrells. And by doing that, most likely the, you know, we're going to get these lords onto our side, but, you know, Rhaegar is going to find out about it, and we won't just be able to fight the Tyrells. We're going to be fighting all of it. Once we raise those banners, it is not just a war for the Stormlands. It's going to be a war against the Targaryens once again. Can Robert defeat Rhaegar this time for good? That's the question we'll have to answer in the next episode. Until then, Wanderers, thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so. I will see you in the next one.